Great. Okay, so, and then this is our bridge program. Again, I'm not going to go into that too much since most of you guys are already aware of that one. But the Resilience Hub piece, so that's a huge part of what we do. And before I go into the Resilience Hub piece, I actually wanted to back up a little bit and provide a little bit of context about how Resilience Hubs and the work that we're doing fits into the city. So we're going to back it up a little bit and give you guys some context. Some of you have seen this and some haven't so much. This is a presentation that we gave, and maybe Kawa could drop the recording for that into the chat if you know where that is. We have the whole thing recorded. But basically, we were working with the city and county of Honolulu, the Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency. And they've been working on this work for quite some time, focusing on resilience on Oahu. And they have all these different programs, like quite a bit, the Climate Change Commission. And these things, I think, only actually came into being about 2018, 2019 as part of a bigger effort. But the work that we're doing with CERENE is really actually in partnership to this broader focus that they're doing. And in specifically, the Resilience Hub project came out of this thing called the OLA Resilience Strategy that was adopted in 2019. And of course, that was before the pandemic. So the OLA Resilience Strategy, we've used their definition of resilience, and at some point we'll have a conversation about what we think it is and how to define it. This is the definition that they're using, so we've adopted it. So it's the capacity of individuals, communities, institutions, businesses, and systems to survive, adapt, and thrive, no matter what kind of chronic stress and acute shocks they experience. So they're saying, like, it's not just acute or short-term challenges that we might face, like, you know, 1 or 2 overwash events or flooding challenges, but like actually long-term challenges as well. And how do we plan for both and develop a network of support for both? Some of you guys maybe have heard me give the statistic. Okay, it's actually 3.9 out of 10. We were ranked 3.9 out of 10 in terms of our vulnerability or our perceived resilience on Oahu. This is by subject matter experts, you know, several thousand surveys and hundreds, almost 140 different stakeholder conversations. So that's the idea, is that we have a lot of work to do, and the Resilience Hub effort is partially to address this. These are the shocks and stressors that were identified as part of the OLA resilience strategy: hurricane, tsunami, infrastructure failure, rainfall, and external economic crisis. Now, what's interesting, of course, is, yeah, there's not fire on there. And some of the terrestrial challenges, such as increased heat-related disease and illness. These are some other things that are coming up that weren't even mentioned in the original survey. One thing that did also come up, though, in the 2019 response, this is specifically for Oahu, was the importance of spirit and strength of heart for people as they endure these challenges. And I think I'm going to skip this part, but the main thing was they identified 44 different strategies to support island-wide resilience. And you guys will probably start to hear about them. But the one that, the one, of course, that we're involved with is this Action 15 Resilience Hub. Now, I'm going to save what a Resilience Hub is. That's almost like its own, basically, topic. And I'll present on that another day. We'll weave it in, and that'll be a fun one because I'd love to hear your guys' experiences and input too. So we're going to pause it there and then pop back over to this slide set here. So Resilience Hubs, that's addressing these different types of disasters in what we call gray sky times, right? But also in blue sky. So how do we build our resilience and invest in our resilience for our families, ourselves, our neighborhoods and communities? You know, it's not just the, we need food, right? But also like things like types of vegetation that you're planting to support medicines, to help do nature-based solutions for fire risk, right? There's all kinds of things that we can incorporate. So, and then we want to do this when we're not in the middle of a hurricane, right? So this is the graphic that you'll see at the City of County of Honolulu for how they define resilience. And you can see it's this huge wheel. It's so much more than just disaster preparedness and response. Okay, here's a resilience hub. Again, I'm going to go into what hubs are specifically the next time, but I wanted to introduce you to this model of where CERENE fits into the resilience hub concept for Oahu. So Oahu, the idea is that we would have originally, I'll tell you the original idea, is that we would have one hub for each of the 8 planning regions. That was sort of the original thought, but you guys know Kawa, Mo, Shauna, right? As we've gone into these communities, that's not enough, right? Like I think that's one of the biggest take home messages of our work is like, they want one per neighborhood, and even smaller than that, probably like even housing association level. So really producing this network is important. All right, so this is sort of new. Most of you haven't seen this. This is a new slide. I want to introduce the idea of a net as a metaphor for the network that we're building. So the idea is right now, a network has all of these different nodes that help it stay together. If you are trying to balance or experience something that knocks you off your balance and you fall onto a net and there's big holes in it, the pukas are, there are too many. That's not going to be very supportive. We're not going to be able to bounce back. So this is the metaphor, is that we need to mend our nets. We need more nodes. And Kwanhan Chen and I actually published on this. So at some point we might have you guys read this, but it's a little bit about that metaphor of mending our nets and cultivating sustainability, and also kind of where CERENE fits into it. So if you want to read more, it's all about you guys. You're in here. That's something that might be interesting. It's not that long. It's just a short little essay. And then we have another one too, which is again, the connection between KCC's campus, and it has a little bit more conceptual connection about sustainability and how that fits to our campus, and the role of Aloha Aina specifically. So that's just fun reading for those who are interested. You guys are the star of this conversation, actually. So okay, so we go back to this. So mending our nets. So thinking about it as a network, and then the idea is we want to bounce better. I'm using this as a metaphor that like we want to actually be able to respond to challenges better while we're in them, and recover better. It's not just bounce back better, it's actually bounce better. You're going to hear people say that. So we want to, like, what would it be like to be so organized and have so much, training and resources and investment and communication that when the worst things happen, we're ready for them. So I don't know if it'll be that like fun, of course, but that we're not devastated, right? So that's sort of the idea. Okay, so keep going here. So that's our model with the network, and the more hubs we have, the more nodes we have in the network, the better we can bounce back from challenges we experience. And those hubs are going to be all different sizes, right? Some are going to be huge. Maybe one is going to be huge, like Haula, giant hub with 2,000 people. But others might be a pop-up tent where they're just giving away food, or maybe vaccines, right? Those are all hubs. Hubs are where people gather and come together when times are hard. That's my like really simple explanation, where people gather and come together when times are hard. Might not be a physical building, it might be a park. So CERENE wants to be helping facilitate this, hopefully with maybe even NDPTC, maybe another organization or a couple organizations. We want to facilitate this network, and the little heart in the middle, can you guys guess who's in the heart in the middle? Anyone have a guess? Well, it depends who I'm giving the presentation to, but usually I'll say you guys, and actually really specifically our our resilience core leaders and our other students working with us, you are literally the heart. There's no way we could do the range of the work that we're doing without you. So you are at the heart of Serene, that's at the center of the hubs of this network. So I just want you to, I really want to emphasize how important you are and how amazing it is that the work that we're doing, that you guys are making it possible. So how do we do this? You all kind of, well, some of you knew. So community-based research, mentoring, service, internships, as much as we can, integrated with the community. Yeah, Shauna and Kawa and Mo, you're going to see lots of pictures of yourself, by the way. You're some of the first cohorts. So yeah, so that's how we do it. And this is just like a list of different publications. So not only are you guys all getting, this is the model, right? Students are skilling up. You're getting professional development, learning all of these things, but at the same time, you're kind of like helping run the engine of this transformation for the island as we get more and more hubs as we mend that net. Okay, so we're going to come back to this. I want to hop to another slide deck. So most of you have seen this. So this is what we do. We've got our volunteering. We've got our resilience service and research. We've got our peer mentoring, and you guys are going to hopefully meet some peer mentors as they come on board here, focusing on economic resilience. We're doing this kind of thing now, so brand new. Yeah, you like that one. Okay, and then we've got these workshops, right? So we do so much at our workshop. So I kind of wanted to go through. We'll come back to the workshop piece because that's like what we do, right? Like when I think Serene, I think workshops. At least that's how my brain works. But let's talk about what else it is. So Serene is supportive. So you guys all get lots of support. There'll be another Chris, not Chris Fujimoto, but you'll have some support. Serene is celebrated. So you guys will get, if you don't have it yet, you'll get your t-shirts and relay. Serene is certified. So you're gonna have certificates, above and beyond awards. Serene is surfing. Oh, love that picture. So surfing, presenting at our undergraduate research fair. Serene is service. So Mo, I love that photo of you. That made me so happy. That's the Genki ball thing that we did with our community partner at the Waikiki Community Center. There's also a whole kind of food pantry coming up. Serene is recognized. So award-winning posters get printed and displayed on the wall for everyone to see. Okay, this is my new word. I think this is a word, curricularly engaged. This is more interesting maybe for the faculty and even our new RCLs. You guys probably haven't seen this yet. So this is a new thing. So I'm working with faculty to incorporate all the projects they do in their classes. So like the whole class is going to design solar panels for all of our resilience hubs. So we're going to bring in resilience hubs and resilience planning into classrooms, not just one individual award projects, but whole classes. And then various faculty are having me teach yoga and mindfulness for their classes as well. So that's happening also. But that's important because that's the the personal resilience piece. Okay, we know community engaged. That's like hands down probably the number one thing that we do, campus and off campus. Serene is professional. Look, these professionals here presenting at our conference. But Serene's also kind of silly. We work really hard and we get things done. Oh wait, did I spell Wendy's name wrong? Denise. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then what else do we have? Serene is intergenerational. So we have a new Climate Kapuna Mentors program. Friday, at our huddle for our RCLs, we'll be talking about who wants to have a mentor, basically. Serene is published. So lots of opportunities to publish and participate. And we let you glance at that. And as I mentioned, Shauna's going to be taking the lead on our digital resilience journal. So that'll be exciting. And we're a family. So there's really, really beautiful friendships and connections that have built up over time. We go out, we have barbecue, there's karaoke involved, and it's just a really good time. So that's my kind of like introduction to Serene, the engagement piece, and how that all fits into the model for resilience planning. Like you guys can see you're woven into it on every single level as much as possible. These are the pieces I've shown to others, like we're hopping back into the workshop pieces, right? But like everything I just showed you is sort of like the behind the scenes, right? To get you guys ready to be able to engage with the community. So all these different kind of skills. We're working with middle schoolers. By the way, we have a K through 12 opportunity coming up. So I'll be talking to RCLs on Friday about that. Yeah, so doing different kinds of engagements. And this year, our focus is INA-based resilience, cultural centered, heritage sites, and intergenerational learning. So that's going to be top on our list. That's really beautiful pictured. The kalo here is from Loka Ea in North Shore, and working with a really awesome partner, Honu, up there. We're just finalizing those dates. So I'll make sure you guys get all that information. I think everybody here probably is getting our newsletter for our new cohort. I'll make sure that you're signed up. Eric, are you signed up? We'll make sure you get that if you want. It's a good way to keep up with what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Right on. Okay, and that's what I got for you. And so I'd love to kind of, here, I'll stop the share. I'd love to kind of hear from our RCLs on your experiences on any of that. Like, maybe, I know you shared a little bit before, but it'd be nice. We still have about 20 minutes left to hear. First of all, what do you guys think about your role in Resilience Hub planning on Oahu? And this especially for Kawa, Mo, and Shauna. Did you realize what you were signing up for?
Honestly, for me, I did not. I thought I was just going to learn leadership skills and resiliency. But then after signing up and going to one of the first meetings, I was told that we were going to get trained up to do facilitate workshops. And I was like, what the heck? I'm so antisocial. That's kind of nerve-wracking. But with my fellow, what did you say, classmates and coworkers, it was very easy to have ease and kind of like chill out because we're all in this together, and I wasn't going to be facilitating a quote unquote table by myself. So I think it was a fun experience. But yeah, definitely not what I had in mind, but I'm glad I did it.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that, Kawa. I have to say, I am so proud of you, Kawa. From the very beginning, I was like, are you ready to facilitate tables? She's like, no, not yet, not yet. And I think there was just a day where we needed, like we didn't have enough, you had to do it, and you did awesome. So it's been so cool to see you, yeah, kind of take the lead in that way. How about Mo or Shauna? Any other, what do you guys think about being part of all this?
Mm-hmm. To me, I believe specifically about the workshop, we had a good focus on awareness in different part of island. And I remember about that tables that we taught, most of them say, most of them they agree with. Most of these topics is very sense and it's very, it's not hard topic, but they never get together and discuss about it. They never try to find a common point about these different conditions. So I believe this kind of like workshops and meetings that we held before could affect, has a significantly affect the awareness about natural disaster. This is my catch up from this.
Thanks, Mo. Yeah, just the way people are thinking about it. It's a really complex issue, and so many people had never thought about it. And every single room I've been going to of students, I say, hey, raise your hand if you know what to do if you get the hurricane alert on your phone. And everyone's just like, no idea. I'm like, okay, yep, we got some work to do. And that's why we need these hubs, So, because what if everyone's like, oh, I go to my neighborhood hub. Oh, like that's a good start, like not only should they be boarding up their windows and make sure they have their water and everything, but if they were like, at least they knew where to go, we would be way better shape. Thanks, Mo. Shauna, how about over to you? Any thoughts on what's it been like to be part of all this?
Honestly, I felt pretty similar to Kawa at first. I sort of joined without knowing like what we'd pretty much be getting up to. And it was really interesting to start facilitating. It was something very new to me. And getting to talk to like community members and learn more about resilience and sustainability was very enriching, I feel like I've gotten a lot out of it. And I sort of know a lot more about how things work, I'd say, regarding like community engagement and such. Yeah, I'd say that it's been a very great experience. So,
Oh, awesome, Shauna. All right, now I kind of I'm curious about Eric. Like, what do you think of all this? Like, what do you think of this, this approach? Because actually it is pretty different than so far what all the other islands are doing. And I hope we can share the model that we've created because it's so rich, and in so many levels. Yeah. So yeah, what do you think, Eric, about all this?
I really think this is a great model for something like this. When I was in my undergraduate program, I worked at the Center for Service Learning. So not exactly the same, but a little bit similar, where you're getting out in the community and getting involved. And so I just, at that time, I thought that it was a really valuable way for the university to connect with the community and actually get some live feedback, as well as just like how impactful that type of learning is for both the community and students. And so I think it's really valuable for this to be kind of like the core of CERENE's model, because it just increases learning and impact all around. So yeah, I really it's cool to see that this is kind of how it works here at CERENE.
Yeah, I mean, and part of it's because if CERENE was based, let's see, we're recording, and this is possibly a public presentation. We'll go this way with it. Because CERENE, oh yeah, Denise, yeah, of course. I was,
Yeah, so what Eric said is just a perfect segue into what I'm going to
sure.
say
Okay, go ahead
in
then.
terms of, you're talking about civic engagement, right? How do we introduce a lot of our students to that? So we have two big events coming up. We work with the Hawaii Food Bank, and that's because of our partnership with the nonprofit organization called Waikiki Community Center. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to distribute food here from our campus if we didn't have a partnership with a nonprofit organization where the with them and the food bank. And we're going to have a food distribution, a big one in the parking lot below Iliahi on October 27th. And I'll be sending out some information in terms of that, but it would be great to have the CERENE team come down and to participate with that. I think it's about 10:30 or 11 to 3 o'clock. And it's a good community building opportunity. It's a good team building opportunity. It's a leadership skills development opportunity. And if you guys come down, you're going to learn the process of how we can distribute a couple thousand pounds of food in a matter of 2.5 hours to over 300 families. It's just an amazing feat. Additionally, I'd like to talk to you about being civically engaged in another situation in terms of blood donations. We are bringing the Blood Mobile on campus on November 20th, and I would encourage all of the RCLs and anyone related or working with Dr. Miku or CERENE to please come down and donate blood. We have such a huge need of blood from all types, because there is a daily need of over 200 pints of blood just to keep the hospital stocked. And the blood bank is the only blood dealer in town. And it's up to us to get the word out to our communities and our fellow students or our colleagues at work or whatever to come out and donate blood, and at least consider donating blood, because someone that you know or yourself in your lifetime will need blood. So I just wanted to put out a pitch for that in terms of some team building exercise. If everyone comes and donates blood, they'll all have that same experience, and they can talk about that at a deeper level, like Our resilience hubs, who's going to be donating blood at the resilience hubs in a disaster? That's something that hasn't been really talked about in the resilient hub realm. But I've been thinking about it a lot. And I think it's something you guys should think about. Like, what if people have big injuries? There's a big disaster. There's lots of injuries. If people are bleeding all over the place, we need blood. What's that look like? How's that going to work? Do we have trained people to do that? Anyway, so for right now, to get started, it's good to just sign up and donate blood on a regular basis. So we're bringing that blood mobile on campus November 20th. Mark your calendars, and that's going to be from 9 to 3. We have a flyer going up on our website for both of these events in the next couple days. We're just waiting for the approvals from administration for the, the final steps. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Denise. And I'm going to come back to you in just a second too, because I wanted to hear your thoughts on all this. And we do try to actually, for our campus service, we do try to do at least one mala workday a semester and at least one kind of food pantry semester as a group, if people can make it. So on Friday at our huddle, I'll share some logistics on that. Denise, Eric, you guys are welcome to the huddle, but it's really more like, okay, who's coming to this event? Here's where it's like a little more, not quite as, I don't know, focused on concepts. But what I was curious about, what I was going to say was, in terms of the CERENE model for climate resilience and community resilience, the reason that we're designed the way we are is because KCC is based out of Kapiolani Community College. If we were based out of an R1 research institution, for example, the focus would be more on the research, hopefully doing good community-based research. So it would still be focused on community, but it wouldn't have that almost in a way primary focus on students and student learning. So it's really unique, just the way things happen to be. CERENE being based at Kapiolani Community College is what made us have the strong student focus. So so I'm actually really proud of that, and it's one of the unique things about community colleges that the R1 institutions don't have access to. So I just wanted to name that. Oh, and I totally was about to go ask Denise something, but she's still being a student. I was going to ask her what she thinks of all this, because she was actually the very first person kind of helping me when CERENE was getting started way back in the day, but maybe we'll come back to her. So in the last 10 minutes, I wanted to open it up for questions. Now, right now we have all of our experienced RCLs on the line. Mo, I think you're getting up there. You're moving into experienced. So we're going to call you experienced RCL at this point. So I was actually curious, Eric, if you had any questions, or especially any questions from the RCL, because they have a really unique perspective on what took place at the workshops. I would say when I say beginner's mind perspective on some of this stuff. So yeah, curious if you have any good questions for them.
I'm sure I could come up with a bunch. Let's see. So my focus is kind of on what kind of built solutions or physical space solutions are really needed to support resilience hubs. So I guess my question is when just off the top of your head and from what you've gathered over all these workshops, what are some of those things that came up the most that people felt like they didn't have but they needed when it came to physical spaces? And it could be neighborhood based, you're like this neighborhood seemed to need this, or this neighborhood seemed to need so and so. But can you think of any just off the top of your head?
All right, so I'm going to turn it to you guys to answer. Go ahead and unmute if you have got a thought for Eric.
Top of my head, I don't know. The thing that would come to mind is we try to incorporate both spaces that are already existing and some that are in planning. But I would say one big problem is that some places the community brought up I don't want to say problem, but we always have to remember where this place or space is, because it could be in a danger zone, in Kapolei, They have like a whole infrastructure. What is it called, Miku? I don't know, like this
Key project?
place.
Key project?
No, like the industrial, Campbell Industrial. So like we can't like keep
Campbell Industrial Park. Yeah.
spaces close to that area because if something were to happen there, we wouldn't know what the risk would be. So they chose a Croc Center, and the Croc Center is like close to Goodwill or something like that. But they recommended that we should have more than one location because like some neighborhoods are so huge that it can't what is that called? It can't fulfill the needs of many people. So it would be good to have multiple spaces. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that's great. Yeah, thank you.
We ended up creating a map specifically for like, it's called brown zones and industrial waste sites, and started adding that at the very last workshop because people started, it wasn't on our list, like, but that's kind of important. You don't want your hub to be right next to like a toxic waste site that then the water is going to just destroy, you know. So that was a conversation that did end up coming up a little bit later on. Yeah, you're right. And I think it was the Campbell Industrial Complex, especially, and then that affected what people said. Yeah, no, that's great, Kawa. Mo or Shauna, did you have any other like things you noticed that came up? Like just off the top of your head. I'm gonna give Eric something here that's gonna blow his mind, but I want you guys to share. Yeah, off the top of your head, any things that came up, especially to do with design of the buildings, a need maybe, or something that was missing.
Thank you, Miku. I think I remember when we did the gimbal, the leader of that community mentioned when some natural disaster like storm happened, many infectious disease like many insects will approach to the people, right? And also because of many this body, the rate of disease will increase. So I think as well the sanitizing or the remove the infectious as well could be important. I think that.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, just keeping in mind like disease vectors and how you actually have to design spaces in mind. So like they didn't name it, but like example would be like during COVID pandemic, people started installing certain kind of air treatments, right? Like, so maybe for disease vectors, maybe you'd want to have, I don't know, like UV, I don't even know what these technologies are, but like certain kind of UV light things for sanitizing, like preparing for disease breakout and designing your space with that in mind. Yeah, that's awesome. Mo is a pre-med person, so it makes sense. You remember the health stuff. Yeah. Shauna, did you have anything top of mind for Eric on especially the built environment or the buildings, like a need or something that was missing that came up? Okawa just wrote electricity was a big one. Yeah, say the power went out. The people's need for medication and refrigeration, how and where would it be stored? So yeah, that was true, right, Kawa? Like that came up a lot, especially when we had Kupuna and vulnerable community member conversation. The energy resilience is like a precursor to health resilience, essentially. That's so much of what we need for dialysis machines, right? People said that a lot. You need energy. And so that was a really interesting takeaway, I think. I've got here, let's see, let me make it view only.
Thank you all. That's really great.
All right, I'm going to put this in here. Kawa's probably seen this. Maybe. Chris worked on this one. This, it's not published yet. Wait, we got, okay. There's not that much in there. This is, oh yeah, food production. Right. Shopping malls could be connected to the hub for food distribution. How do you cook for a huge amount of food for people, that kind of thing. That was something that came up in Waikiki when we were talking about Denise, we're answering Eric's question. He asked a question like, what are the things that came top of mind for things that buildings were missing or needed? And Waikiki area, or any place where we had a workshop where it was more densely populated, what came up was that people don't have enough space. So much of the hub's function is supporting people sheltering in place, right? So lots of disasters, we have to shelter in place. Well, a lot of people who have small units, and that's most of us, most people, don't have a space to store that much food. You know, how many MSR packs can you store? Maybe or maybe not. You have access to a rooftop garden or something. So especially in the urban high density areas, building in the food hub aspect is more important when you have those urban areas. They can't have access to it. So that was sort of a takeaway I had too. I'm going to drop into the link for you, Eric. Now, this is not published yet. So again, you just get various things that are secret. That's fine. You guys can all have this. Great. It's being recorded. That's fine. It's totally fine. It's data that we have processed. It's the appendix, one of the appendices for the report, which will be out in like a week or something like that. But this, if you want the sneak preview, I think you guys can all have access to it. But just don't share it out for now. Just we'll wait till the official one gets published. But this is the list of all the next steps that we identified, working with community members, organized not just by region, but organized by neighborhood, which is just like mind-blowing. Most of the time you don't get that kind of granularity on the level of next steps for this kind of level of process. So it has the bullet point. So you'd have to, Eric, go through and parse it and like look for the built environment ones or the network ones, but that's going to be really, yeah, that'll be really helpful for your work too. But also for Mo and Kawa and Shauna, if there was a particular community that you cared about, like your neighborhood, you can actually go and look for it and you can easily pull up what are the things for your neighborhood, which is super helpful. Denise, same thing. Okay. So that's, okay, we have just a couple minutes left. Denise, I was going to ask you a question, which was, and oh, by the way, Shauna, if you come up with something, you can put it into the chat. So Denise, I was just going to ask you, we only have a couple minutes after hearing that presentation. And I know you know what we've been doing because Denise has been part of everything, but still seeing it like in that format, the CERENE model, right, for how Resilience Hub work and how KCC and service learning fits in. What do you think? What do you think of all that as you're seeing it? Because Denise, Denise has been working in like disaster planning, preparedness, especially working with vulnerable community members for a long time. Like she's really experienced. She's someone that you want to be around if bad things happen. She knows what to do. So anyway, yeah, I'm so curious what you think.
Sorry, they're tree trimming behind me. I hope that's not too loud.
No, I don't hear anything.
Okay, good. That's very loud behind. They're right outside my window. Anyway, so I think that the work that's being done right now needs to be done. I feel like it should have been done years ago, but no one, like, you know, Maui's a perfect example of things that should have been done years ago, but nobody stepped up to the plate to do it. And I find that in Hawaii in particular, our government isn't really stepping up to the plate the way they should be, and they haven't been for years. So it's going to be up to us, our individuals, to make sure that our communities have the things that they need in case something should happen in terms of a disaster or some kind of community emergency. And people need to know what to do and where to go if they have to evacuate. And I think this work is just invaluable. I've been doing disaster preparedness training for low-income kapunas across the island since 2017. And I can tell you, when they come, they're like, oh, what is this thing? You know, what do we need to know? And then you start talking to them and they need to know everything, you know, and they want to know, should I leave my home? Should I stay in my home? And we have a lot of kapunas with mobile issues. And so something we emphasized was sheltering in place. and we gave them the tools and information they needed to be secure in their own home in terms of, if you live in a 20-story high rise, do you know that you can't pour water down your toilet to flush it if if the plumbing's not working, because there's a pump system in most high rises that run the water through. And if everybody's pouring a 5-gallon bucket of water down the toilet to flush it, it's all going to back up and everyone's apartments will be flooded. People don't know that. They don't realize that, oh, my building has a pump system for the sewer lines. You know, this is kind of the thing that we learn as we go from building to building and find out what the dynamics of that building are and what the dynamics of the residents are and the things they didn't know they needed to know about. So I think this work is really important, what you guys are doing and going to be doing from now in the future. And it's really about knowing your community, knowing the needs of your community, and knowing what to do if something goes wrong in your community. And how do we get that word out to everybody, right? And I think building these resilience hubs is one way to do that. So thanks for this good work, Niku.
Aw, that was a perfect note to end on. And thank you always for your support. And Denise is my mentor. So thank you for mentoring and supporting me, so I can mentor and support all of these wonderful people. So yeah. All right, well, that completes our first seminar of the series. So awesome to have you guys all on here and share. And Eric, just amazing to have you, be part of this as well. And I'm hopefully can present maybe next semester. That will be really fun. And Denise, we got the green light to host a workshop at the Japanese Cultural Center.
That's awesome.
Isn't
I
that
just sent
amazing?
you the flyer for the blood drive. So if you can put it in your newsletter for October and November, that would be awesome.
Yep, I'll post the
Thank
newsletter
you.
and I can
And-
share logistics meeting too. Yeah.
Welcome, Eric.
All right, everybody. Hope you have an awesome rest of your day. And some of you will see Friday and others will see again next week. Aloha, everyone.
Good time.